Hi everyone, good day. So today I'm going to be talking about how you can get started with Shiny in Python. So I know some of you coming from our background are familiar with the Shiny framework used for building interactive web apps without the knowledge of front-end libraries or front-end programming languages such as JavaScript or front-end frameworks such as React or technologies such as HTML and CSS. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you how you can get started with Python Shiny. So the Shiny framework is also available too for Python after years of using it in R. So those that have knowledge of Python can also make use of Python Shiny. So now, how do we get started with Python Shiny? First of all, you need to have an integrated development environment set up on your machine, just like what you are currently seeing now. You are seeing looking at a VS Code. So this is a type of integrated development environment, but you can also use your choice, not necessarily VS Code. But this is what I'm going to be using to show you I can get started with Python Shiny. So if you don't have it installed, you can actually go to the site and install it, which I'm going to be dropping the link below. So this is the link for Visual Studio Code. So this is the site. This is where you can actually download it. You can see we have options for Windows, we have options for Mac OS, we also have options for Linux OS. So you can download any of the installers that is available that is going to suit your particular operating system. So I'm currently working on a Windows machine. So if you are using Windows, this is the installer for you. So now this is where you can actually work on if you are going to be using Python Shiny. So next, I'm going to be showing you now how you can install Python Shiny and get started with Python Shiny in VS Code. So now, first of all, before we install our Python Shiny, we need to make sure we're already in a working directory. So this is working directory is actually where you are going to be building your app from. So we want to create a local working directory for your app, which I'm going to be creating. So I'm going to go to terminal, and when I go to terminal, I'm going to click on new terminal. So by clicking now on new terminal, you can see that the PowerShell console has been opened for me. So I'm going to click on this drop down and go to my Git bash. So I'm going to be using my Git bash to create my working directory. So let me go back to my home directory. So once I go back to my home directory now, I can now go to my desktop. Then inside my desktop, I'm going to be creating a directory called my app. You can see I've already created a directory called my app. I'm going to change my directory to this particular my app. You can see it, I'm already inside my app directory. So once I'm already inside there now, I'm going to create a virtual environment. I'm going to type in the code Python, then then virtual environment. So I've already created a virtual environment currently now. So now let me go to my file and open this particular working directory I'm currently on, which is actually under desktop, my app, and click on select folder. So you can now see the working directory I actually created earlier on. You can see it's virtual environment. You can see it. So I'm going to go back to my terminal, then new terminal. So we created the virtual environment. This doesn't mean that we are in the virtual environment. So how do we activate the virtual environment? The dots, then slash virtual environment slash scripts slash activate. So you can see that what this indicator here means that we are already inside our virtual environment. So when we are done with that now, we want to make sure we now upgrade our pip package. So pip is the package installer that allows us to be able to install packages in Python. So I'm going to say pip install upgrade pip. So I want to upgrade pip and also install wheel. So we're going to be doing that at the same time. So you can see it's doing that for us. It's currently installing and upgrading is upgrading pip for us and also installing wheel. So when you check it now, you can see that we already have our packages installed. So the next thing that we're going to be doing now is going to install Shiny from what? PyPy. So I'm going to be saying pip install Shiny. It's going to install the Shiny package for us. You can see it is installing Shiny framework. So see, we're already done installing our Shiny framework for Python. So now, how do you now create a Shiny app? So for you to create a Shiny app, you just run the code shiny create dot, but make sure you are inside this particular working directory, my app, which I just opened earlier on. So you can now see that what a file has already been created for me called app.py. So this particular app.py now contains a template for you to create a Shiny app. So Shiny app is actually made of two components. We have the user interface and we have the server side. So just like in web development, the front end and the back end. So the user interface is where the user interacts with the web app, where the server side is where the logic used in building the web app occurs. So how was the web app built, and what are the things that happen inside the web app? The logic behind it are what is created inside the server side. But in the user interface, the user is able to interact with the web app and also to be perform some operations by clicking on it. These are things that actually happen in the user interface. So these are the two components of a Shiny app: user interface and the server side. So how do you now run your Shiny app? Now this is a template. Now you can see this particular template we created first of all has hello Shiny and also an input slider, then an output. And you can see that what this is our server side, which is defining our input, output and session. I'm going to be explaining these components later on. For now, let us run this Shiny app and see how it looks like on our browser. So I'm going to be saying Shiny, then run. Then I'm going to be using reload. So why we are using this is that in case we update it here, instead of rerunning the app again, we just save it, and once we save it, it's going to refresh automatically on our browser when it opens. So I'm going to run this now. You can see now that my application is currently running on this particular you can see it's running on this particular link, this particular port. So I'm going to click on this link now. So by clicking on it, you can now see the Shiny app. You can see this particular simple Shiny app. So now let me now show you why I used that particular reload earlier on. So when I go back now, so let me just save, or let me just clear this particular output line now. And I'm going to now save it. Can you see it is currently saved? Okay, now let me go back to the web app and see if it has already automatically updated it for me. So you can now see that we don't have any output again in this web app. So that is why I use that particular reload marker earlier on. So once you use that reload, then you can see that it's going to automatically update your web app anytime you make changes. So that's all for getting started with Python Shiny. So in the next video, I'm going to be laying more emphasis on the user interface and also the various input function that we have in Python Shiny.